Despite 5 weeks of lockdown, the UK reaches a grim milestone. The death toll from coronavirus is now the second highest in Europe, behind Italy. The man standing in for Prime Minister Boris Johnson, himself still recovering from coronavirus, says this is down to the fact that deaths outside of hospitals were not being recorded in the daily figures until now.
We have recorded an additional 3,811 deaths in total. And I think it's just important to say that those additional deaths were spread over the period from the 2nd of March to the 28th of April. So they don't represent a sudden surge in the number of deaths.
First Secretary.
Rob earlier faced a grilling in Parliament for a Prime Minister's question time where most MPs took part virtually, not in person. Opposition leader KEIR STARMER wanted to know why there were still so many people dying of coronavirus in care homes and shortages of protective equipment for frontline health workers.
On Monday, the Prime Minister said in his short speech that many were looking at our apparent success in the United Kingdom. But does the First Secretary agree with me that far from success, these latest figures are truly dreadful?
He also asked when the government would announce a strategy for lifting the current restrictions. Rob simply said it was still too early.
But he will know, because I know he's an assiduous follower of the international evidence, that Germany is now having to think twice about easing up on the measures because of the risk of a second spike.
Germany's economy minister says he now expects economic growth to shrink this year by -6.3%. meaning the country's deepest recession since the Second World War. Output is predicted to rebound by more than 5% next year. But that depends on Angela Merkel's government being able to gradually lift lockdown measures. From Wednesday, Germans have to wear a mask when entering shops, which began to open last week. Nose and mouth coverings are already compulsory on public transport. But while this kind of travel is permitted, international trips are very much off the agenda.
The Cabinet decided that global travel restrictions for non-essential and holiday travel will be upheld until June the 14th. This is a decision that we have had to take because we are not at the point in our fight against the disease to be able to offer safe travel.
Meanwhile, in Spain, one of Europe's worst-hit countries, they've recorded a daily coronavirus death count below 400 for the 6th day in a row. In these somber times, there's reason to be hopeful. Stancl, Al Jazeera.